commandant Ismaël Ibrahim, de la garde républicaine, commandant des troupes d'honneur. À vous, monsieur le président.
Part of his visit, the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has been received by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. The two heads of state had one-to-one discussions held at the presidential palace, during which the two leaders reviewed several issues concerning the Palestinian situation in the occupied territories, such ground handling Jordan in Gaza, alarming humanitarian situation. The Palestine president's visit in the Republic is deeply rooted in the friendly and brotherly relations between the two nations, and this will be an opportunity for both to evoke once again the Palestinian cause prominent to the head of state, for him to continue his unwavering and relentless support for the Palestinian people. Oppressed by almost 68 years of Israeli occupation, an occupation with daily torture, massacres and oppression in all its forms. The discussions between the two leaders mainly focused on the ways and means of giving to the Palestinian people a full state, sovereign and independent, but also the peace negotiations. Bearing in mind that the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Margele, never misses opportunity during his speeches in major international forums to discuss the Palestinian cause to the Palestinian people to achieve their inalienable rights. The visit of President Mahmoud Abbas will also be an opportunity to open the embassy of the Palestine in Djibouti. The inauguration of this janissary in Haramuz, including the laying of the foundation stone, was carried out in 2010 by Mr. Abbas, which will further strengthen relations between the two countries. Thereafter, the Palestinian president decorated the President of the Republic with the Great Star of the State of Palestine in recognition of his commitment and dedication to the Palestinian cause and the Arab nation and its people.
After his private meeting with the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, went to the National Assembly where he was greeted on his arrival by the President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Hamad, within the honor guard for the occasion. The reception took place within the presence of the Prime Minister, Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, parliamentarians, senior civil and military officials, and leaders of the country. Moments later, Mahmoud Abbas and his delegation went inside the assembly to sign the guest book of the meeting and take a family photo to immortalize the event.
The President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Hamad, has expressed in his speech the fact that it was such a great honor to welcome their dear guest, His Excellency, the President of the broader Palestinian state, and the delegation that accompanies him. Let's listen to him.
وبركاته. فخامة الرئيس الأخ محمود عباس رئيس الدولة الفلسطينية الشقيقة أيها الحضور الكرام السلام عليكم.
Welcome among your brother and your family, and I wish you a good stay in your 25th country, Djibouti. Mr. President, I seize this opportunity of your historic visit to prove to you our unwavering support for the Palestinian cause, because it kept us at health, and it's a cause not for the Palestinians but for the Muslim Arab world. Here in Djibouti, we follow with great attention to the situation, with great importance that crosses our borders in the occupied Palestine and the barbarian Israeli aggressions which continue against the broader Palestinian people, and where human rights are being violated, as well as non-compliance with the international resolutions by continuing the embargo, the injustices and the killings, as well as defaming that region our brother people. the destruction and bombing of houses and places of worship which are continue without ceasing, and the threats of destructions of the Al-Quds city and other religious places of Palestine. Today, we reiterate our condemnation of the attacks the Israeli perpetrated against our brothers, and we reject the plan for expansion of settlement in the occupied Arab territories. And we are renewing our solidarity with the Palestinian people, and we confirm our assistance and our mobilizations to its right for that its most fundamental rights are respected, and the construction of its independent state with Jerusalem capital, if God wants, and the return of the refugee on their land. From this podium, we appeal to that justice to be rendered to the brotherly Palestinian people, and we call upon the international parliaments, and mostly European, and among them those who do not recognize the independent and sovereign Palestinian state, to support this new state as well as its rights which have been violated illegally by the Israelis. We also call on all Palestinian factions to gather their efforts for the realization of reconciliation and national unity to face the current challenges in the same directions to make the rights to the brotherly Palestinian people. And finally, we renew our support and our solidarity, Mr. President, and we ask the Almighty to grant us the strength to defend the Palestinian people. The President of the Palestinian State, Mr. Mahmoud Abbas, has delivered an important speech to the Egyptian parliamentarians in the chambers of the National Assembly. Here is how he expressed himself.
يسعدني اليوم أن أكون بينكم وأن أتحدث إليكم في البرلمان الجيبوتي وأن أهنئ.
I am very happy to be among you today and to speak to you in this great chamber inaugurated last year. This gives me the opportunity to express my joy and that of my delegation to see that the Republic of Djibouti seriously advances on the path of progress and development with the many achievements made. A development pointed out by Mr. Ismail Omar Gelle, which continues in all areas and the bottom of the earth. We want more social progress and prosperity. The Republic of Djibouti has been able in a few years to achieve many things and to lay the foundations of a democratic process. Clear set of rules and a consensus policy are very important to achieve the progress and the prosperity which the people of Djibouti have the right to enjoy. Mr. President of the Assembly, ladies and gentlemen, I would like here to present and express all my gratitude to the President Ismail Omar Gelle, to the government and the people of Djibouti and their noble position and support for the legitimacy of claiming the Palestinian people, a people who wants its rights to freedom, to sovereignty and independence. Djibouti has always been at our side in all regional and international forums, and we take in high consideration your support with regard to the construction of the new chancery in Djibouti for the state of Palestine. I personally carried to the installation of the first stone and am honored to proceed to the side of the President Gelle to its inauguration. So it's nice to welcome the constancy of the Djiboutian position regarding the Palestinian issue. It is a fundamental question and which relates to the entire Arab nation. I welcome in addition his generosity of Djibouti, which hosts on its soil thousands of Yemeni refugees and Somali refugees living in difficult moments. Finally, I am pleased to the wise policy conducted by the President Gelle for peace and stability in the sub-region.
After his meeting with the President of the National Assembly, the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, cut the ribbon of new Palestinian state's embassy. Upon his arrival, he was greeted by members of the government and the Palestinian diplomatic corps accredited to the Republic of Djibouti. Then the President of Palestine, Mr. Mahmoud Abbas, along with the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, have proceeded to cut the ribbon within the presence of the members of government, national and international organizations. They then visited the various premises of the new embassy.
This event without images, the 28th session of the Executive Council of the African Union has been opened this Thursday in the plenary room of Nelson Mandela of the African Union in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mohamed Ali Yusuf, along with his delegation, has taken part in this 28th session. The Executive Council, which is died in prelude to the summit which will open on 20 January in the Ethiopian capital, will examine a number of points between the annual reports of the African Union Commission, the reports of the Committee of Permanent Representatives, as well as the interim report on the International Criminal Court. Note that these sessions will also proceed to the elections of the African Union 15 members Council of Peace and Security. Let's recall that our country has been a candidate for a mandate of 3 years in his Council after having served these last 2 times of his for 2 terms of 2 years.
The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Dr. Jama Al-Mouki, continues his tour in the regions. After the south and the north, it has been the turn of Obok region, where he has closed his tour by meeting the teachers of the region around lunch. The minister has been warmly welcomed upon his arrival by the teachers to the UKF page to take part at lunch to the sites of the teachers. This visit of the minister is part of a series of meetings that the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Dr. Jama Al-Mouki, was carrying out in the regions of the country. In order to meet with his family of education, the objective is to allow a moment of conviviality and meeting between the members of this great family. During the lunch, several teachers have in turn thanked the government and in particular the minister for all the achievements he made for the teachers since his appointment to the head of his department.
On his side, the Minister of Education, Dr. Jama' al-Mawkiya, said in his speech during this lunch is to attract the attention of teachers on the efforts of the government headed by the President Ismail Omar Guelleh in order to improve the conditions of the teacher. He has also promised that projects are underway to further improve the life of the teachers, in particular the facilitation of access to housing as well as for the teachers and the personnel of the department to further enhance the quality of teaching in our school, has concluded the minister.
Still in Obok, after participating at the lunch alongside with the teachers of Obok, the Minister of Education, accompanied by the Prefect and the President of the Regional Council, visited the inspection of the city of Obok to conduct food distributions to the education staff. The food consisted sacks of rice, sugar, oil, dates, and oil cans. These badges have been distributed to the guards, housekeepers, and canteen of schools in the region of Hayub. This distribution is part of a series of actions that the Minister of National Education, Dr. Jama' al-Mawkiya, accounted to bring MENFOP to relieve the purchases of basic necessities. Alongside the Education Minister, the Prefect of the city, the regional chairperson, and senior executive of MENFOP took part in these distributions.
We have a press release. The Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti in Somalia, His Excellency Dayib Dubat Roble, accompanied by his advisors, Mr. Muhammad Ali and Colonel Usman Nur Subagle, spoke Tuesday, January 26, 2016, with the President of Somalia, His Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. During the discussions which focused on the state of relations between the two countries, the ambassador reiterated the commitment of Djibouti to continue to participate in the stabilization of Somalia before brief the President on the situation in the district of Hiran and the rotation of Battalion Hill troops. The Somali President has in turn praised the excellent relations between the two countries. He said that during their stay, the Djiboutian troop has distinguished arriving to reconcile the military and reconciliation between different communities, while achieving kinds of projects to improve the living condition of the population, citing in particular the rehabilitation of health center, airports, but also the formation of Somali battalion. The President of Somalia, Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, in other hand, reiterated that the government was working now to preserve sustainability. The Somali institutions were developing an electoral process through dialogue and consensus. The President asked the ambassador to convey its sincere gratitude to the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, whose support is more crucial than ever.
The Secretary of State for Youth and Sports has put at the disposal of women an equipped gym to practice aerobic fitness, which is a physical training courses provided by a Caribbean international expert. It aims to allow, especially to the young women, to keep their shape and above all to fight against the risks of obesity. This first aerobics fitness training room available to all Djiboutian women. It will be open for 3 days of the week, every Sunday, Wednesday and Fridays from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. This new action by the State Secretary for Youth and Sports is part of President Guelleh's policies to promote the rights and health of the Djiboutian women.
Still in sport, the Grand Ethiopian Plateau has become a favorite destination for major international athletes to perform the high-level training. The Djiboutian athletes of the National Athletics Junior and Seniors team are working hard under the direction of international coach Jama' Aden, a specialist of the racing background and half bottom. These athletes are training alongside international athletes, champions of the world and Olympic champions, as the British international of Somali origin Mo Farah, who is the champion of the Olympic world of 10,000 meters, and the Ethiopian athlete Ibrahim, world champion of 5,000 meters in 2013 in Moscow, as well as other major athletes from all origins. The coach of the national team, Mr. Jama' Aden, has indicated that 3 Djiboutian athletes are qualified for the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro in next July. In this case, Muhyiddin Wais, Ibrahim Hassan and Abdul Fattah Ismail, they have achieved the necessary minima to qualify this great international competition. With respect to the Djiboutian international Ayale Suleiman, the coach said that he is optimistic of his capabilities to achieve the performance and win medals. These athletes are brought also to represent the Republic of Djibouti to the champions of Africa, Arab and Coast countries, provided respectively on 14 February in Cameroon and next March in Tunisia. Finally, let's recall that the national team has largely dominated the previous editions of the Arab Champions in accompanying the 5 first places for the African Championship. Djibouti has crowned vice champion.
On the internationals, and now concerning the migrants crisis, Sweden is gearing up to reject up to 80,000 people who applied for asylum in the country last year. Let's see for more details.
Sweden intends to expel as many as 18,000 refugees and migrants who arrived in 2015 and whose application for asylum has been rejected. We are talking about 60,000, but the number could climb to 80,000. Interior Minister Anders Ingerman was quoted as saying by Swedish media. He added on Wednesday that the government has asked police and authorities in charge of refugees to organize their expulsion. Sweden, which is home to 9.8 million people, is one of the European Union countries that has taken in the largest number of refugees in relation to its population. Sweden accepted more than 160,000 asylum seekers last year. The mass expulsion was announced as Europe struggled to deal with a crisis that has seen tens of thousands of refugees arrive on Greek beach, with the passengers mostly fleeing conflict in Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan, undeterred by cold, wintry conditions and deadly seas.
As some countries are expelling migrants back to their home against their will, some are returning to home. A growing numbers of Iraqi refugees in Germany are choosing to return to their war-torn country. Let's see for more information.
A growing number of Iraqis are returning home from Germany, citing a lengthy asylum process, bland food and poor shelter as reason for leaving. My husband liked the idea of going there. He saw others and he wanted to imitate them, said one Kurdish returnee. The situation there was much worse than here. We spent around 3 months there. We got nothing. The food was bad and there was little of it. They used to give us a piece of cold bread and cheese with a piece of cucumber. How can one survive a cold winter on such food? Our children were crying of hunger. We spent $12,000 and returned back empty-handed. The numbers of returnees began rising in the final months of 2015. In December, 200 Iraqis headed back home. The increase in demand has pushed Iraqi Airways to operate 3 flights per week from Berlin, Düsseldorf and Frankfurt. Many are returning, they say, with less than what they had on their arrival in Germany. The International Organization for Migration is providing financial assistance for those who cannot afford the airfare. The Iraqi embassy has provided a one-way travel document for many wishing to return home.
That's all for tonight's edition. Have a great evening.